Konyat Ishk Edine Ado Dindine. Welcome back to another episode of Shanclenshadowproductions. Yes, it's time. I'm back, and I know it's been a little while since I've actually done a video, but I've been very busy. But I'll go ahead and get to that probably at the end of this video. But for now, let's go ahead and share some more of your guys' amazing stories you have. Yes, and before we go ahead and get started, be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you guys are enjoying the content here at Shanclenshadowproductions. And without further ado, let's hop into these stories. Oh. I saw your video today, the one from a month ago, and it reminded me of a few short stories from when I was younger. I never really shared these before. Most people I know don't believe me, and that made me doubt myself for a long time. I used to blame the lack of sleep, but even when I would get 10 hours of full sleep, I would still see the same things. I hope you get to read these whenever you have the time. Story number 1. By the time this happened, I was already used to seeing things around my house. Shadow figures, flickers of movement, and even shadow cats slipping through the rooms. None of it shocked me anymore. Anything I saw would vanish within a second. But that night was different. When I was little, I slept on the floor beside my parents' bed, facing their bathroom doorway. I didn't know what made me look up, but when I did, I froze. Standing halfway between the bed and the bathroom was a massive shadow figure with enormous horns. It was featureless, no arms, no face, just a towering shape with horns curving straight outward from both sides of its head and rising upward like it's a bull. What terrified me most was that it didn't disappear right away. It stood there, watching me. Only after a few long seconds did it finally fade out. It never came back. Story number 2. A few years later, I used to sit in a big, comfy chair in the living room late at night, watching TV. The chair faced my parents' bedroom doorway, and every now and then, a shadow figure would appear there. Nothing dangerous ever happened. They would just show up. I'd glance over, see them, and they'd vanish. My favorites were the ones with hats. They were short, but they wore huge hats, some almost half the size of their bodies. Sometimes I'd see one with a cane, sometimes a medium hat, sometimes no hat at all. But the ones with the oversized top hats were the best. They appeared in my doorway like it was the only place they belonged. I actually enjoyed seeing them, but eventually they stopped coming too. Story number 3. Months went by without anything happening until one Sunday. I like to walk down my road while listening to music. I live in the middle of nowhere, so it's quiet. I was looking down at my phone, and when I looked up, I saw somebody standing in a tree line by the neighbor's house, staring at me. I knew instantly it wasn't my neighbor. They don't have kids, and the figure I saw was about 5 feet tall. Their children would be all grown adults by now. The figure moved strangely and quick, jittery and almost gliding. It was too dark to see details, just a sharp shadow shape. My dog didn't bark, but I didn't stay long enough for him to notice it. I went straight back inside. Later, when I realized I hadn't taken out the trash, I used that excuse to go back out, but the tree line was empty. Story number 4. Sometimes I see shadow cats in the hallway. They always slip into my sister's room, which makes sense. She's basically the cat whisperer, and our actual cat lives in there. Usually, the shadow cats look normal until the night I saw that one. It was a pure shadow radiating darkness, like smoke drifting off of its body as it walked. It glided down the hallway and slipped into my sister's room without a sound. I've only seen it once, but it honestly was one of the coolest, strangest things I've ever witnessed. Story 5. My family once visited my grandma in El Paso. We stayed in an Airbnb with a strange sideway hallway. When you stepped into it, the bathroom door was right in front of you, and the bedroom to the left, and at the far end, another bedroom, where my sister and I were staying. In the middle of the day, I went to the bathroom to wash my hands. As I stood there, I suddenly heard the sound of flip-flops slapping against the floor, coming down the hallway toward me. A short little girl walked past wearing a bright red flip-flops and a white dress, and straight black hair. None of my family had straight hair, no one brought flip-flops, and no one matched her size. Of course, acting like the white girl in every horror movie, I followed her into the room my sister and I shared. There was no one there. That was the only major thing I saw in that house, besides hearing my name called. Story 6. For my final story, my parents once went to Houston for an overnight business trip and left us kids at home. My older sister and I were thrilled to sleep in their bed. To us, that was luxury. I slept on the right side near the bathroom. Everything in my life was normal at this point. I hadn't seen anything strange yet. In the middle of the night, I woke up and saw my dad sitting on my side of the bed. He stood up and the bed actually creaked and lifted from the weight, leaving it. I watched him walk toward the bathroom doorway and disappear. Just gone. Anyone else would have been terrified, but for some reason I didn't freak out. I just got back under the covers and fell asleep like nothing happened. That's all my stories. Thank you for letting me share them, finally. Yay! So, let's talk about this one. So, if I were to see one of my parents kind of stand up like that and walk away, even though I knew that they weren't there, boot to the face, I'm sorry, mom and dad, but I know that ain't you. So, it kind of seems like the location that you guys lived at, you said it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. So sometimes spirits, whether they're kind of traveling, going by, you may be living in a place to where, I guess you can say it's like a spiritual highway maybe nearby, to where a lot of spirits like to come and go in certain locations like this. And they stop by, you know, they need a place to rest. They need some shelter from whatever darker things may be out there in the world. Some of them may actually kind of like the house if you guys don't really have a lot of barriers up. To be able to make sure no stranger spirits kind of walk inside of your home. So that could be one of those things to where, like, the reason why these spirits kept coming in and out of your home throughout your life. And yeah, seeing a little girl in red flip-flops and a white dress inside of an Airbnb is definitely creepy. That's why I don't stay in Airbnbs. Even hotels, yeah, sometimes, you know, like, people could die in those rooms and stuff, and you know, even if like they replace the mattress and stuff, the room still has that scent of death. And I remember this one time I went on a trip to Monument Valley. We stayed at a hotel over there, and I ended up having a nightmare that was like really disturbing, and it was like involved death and everything. And I was like, what the fuck is that? So, yeah, so I kind of figured that somebody had passed away in one of those rooms there. So that tends to happen, especially when you go to Airbnbs too. You have the energies of people who used to live in those homes, and you also have the energies of the land. You also have the energies of maybe some of those spirits followed you, and then the other spirits that are there at the home or nearby wanted to come along and see what's going on. So there's a lot of possibilities of what that could actually happen. But and you saw a little ghost kitty, go by. That's adorable. But it's good that you didn't get harmed by any of them. That one shadow being with the horns was definitely very creepy and deserves a boot to the face. Yes, but definitely happy and glad that you are safe. Thank you for submitting your stories of your life. And very, very creepy indeed. Yes. Now, on to the next story. My sister and I come from a small town in Oklahoma on my dad's side. Every summer, we travel back during ceremony to see family. In the 90s, we usually stayed with my grandmother, who lived deep in the country, surrounded by thick forests, not far from our ceremonial grounds. As kids, our cousins would sneak up behind us, grab our shoulders, and shout. We grew up hearing warnings about a huge owl with glowing red eyes, and why we should never walk around at night. One summer, my sister and I were staying at a spare room in the back of my grandmother's house, sharing a bed. I was around 11 or 12, and my sister was about 13, 14. The bed sat directly against the window, no curtains or blinds. Every other window in the room had curtains, except this one. Even as a kid, I thought it was strange. That night, after falling asleep, I had suddenly woken up with a heavy, creeping sense of unease. I was laying on my stomach facing the wall, right at the edge of the bed. The feeling was coming from an uncovered window just inches behind me. I felt watched. I didn't dare move. The wave of heat washed over me, like the air around me thickened. Sweat gathered on my skin, and I felt pinned in place. Like if I twitched, whatever was outside would leap through the window. I tried to sense if my sister was awake. She slept closest to the window, and someone was staring straight at us from outside. I didn't see anything visually, but I felt it. Felt eyes on us. Carefully, slowly, I pulled the covers over my head and eventually drifted back to sleep, never daring to roll over. I told myself it was a bad dream. Since I hadn't seen anything, it was easy to forget. Years had passed. One night, my mom, my sister, and I were eating dinner when my mom started reminiscing about Oklahoma. She had lived there briefly before moving back to Arizona after the divorce. Out of nowhere, my sister said, "Do you remember how Grandma didn't have curtains in that window?" And my stomach dropped. She continued, "I woke up one night and saw red eyes." My mom gasped before my sister said anything else. "You saw the Stigini," she said. Sorry if I said that wrong. I felt chills race through me. Even though my mom hadn't lived there long, she knew the stories. Everyone did. My sister described what she saw. At first, she thought the red lights were tail lights, but the road wasn't in that direction. The glow came from a pond beside my grandmother's house, the one the cattle used. Red eyes hovered above the water watching. Every time she looked out the window, the eyes were closer. Eventually, they reached the edge of the barbed wire fence, only about 3 car lengths away from the house. She tried to go back to sleep and eventually did. We never talked about that night until we were adults. The moment she finished, I told them about waking up frozen in fear, feeling watched from the same window. I knew instantly it had been the same night. To this day, neither of us will sleep anywhere if the windows are open. Yeah. So this being is a monstrous owl-like creature from the Seminole folklore, described as an evil witch who transforms into an owl monster at night. During the day, they appear human, but at night they regurgitate their internal organs and transform into their undead owl form, and hunt for human hearts. They are a prominent figure in Seminole mythology, and their name is sometimes considered taboo because it is believed that speaking it could attract creatures or cause harm to the person to become one. Yeah. Sounds familiar. Never heard of that one before. That's cool. I'm gonna have to go check out some Seminole folklore. See if my archery is still good enough for that. Oh, thank you so much for submitting that video. Yeah, that if that was me, no, I'd get one of the bed sheets or blankets and put it up on the window. Get some thumbtacks or something and just cover the window. That's one thing I never sleep with the window open like that. Unless like I'm living, like I would have to say maybe like minimum like 4 stories and higher. Maybe I'll leave the window open. The only person that's going to be looking in through there is going to be Batman. And yeah, I'll just ask for money if Batman ever shows up in my window like that. But for sure, hella scary whenever you wake up and your body kind of senses something like that watching you. And it's very interesting that, you know, later on that you talk, your sister brought that up and you guys just talk about it and just like brings back like a forbidden hidden memory inside of your mind. And you're just like, holy crap, that happened to me too at the same time, you know? Those are always pretty fun. But whenever like me and my family, whenever we kind of deal with something like that, we always tell each other that day of or the next day when everyone's awake, just because you never know if you need to go get a ceremony done or something, or everyone else kind of feels it, senses it, and then if it kind of happens overnight more times, then you know you gotta go handle business if you want to. But super glad and happy that you were safe and your heart wasn't taken and wasn't regurgitated into an undead owl. That sounds wild, man. I gotta go check that out. So yeah, Seminoles out there. If you guys want me to go over there and go check it out, send me a DM, Instagram, Clinton_warrior_SSP. Yes. But it is winter time, so we have to make sure that we're nice and warm and cozy, and I feel pretty warm and cozy inside of this Shanclenshadowproductions sweater hoodie. It has a name right here. One of the cameras got to get it. Shanclen SP. It has Warriors of Shadow on this sleeve and then another native design on this sleeve. I really like this hoodie. It's nice and warm. Keeps me nice and cozy. So if you guys want to order this, you guys can go ahead and go to www.shanclen.shop. You guys can order your own too. Some other things that I have here. I am also selling prints. So I've mentioned to people before that I am selling some of these prints. This one's actually sold, so I got to go send this one out here pretty soon. There's another photo here I have of my trip to Antelope Canyon. So some beautiful photos. Got more crows. Yes, got a lot. That one's gonna be sold here pretty soon too. Some more canyon photos that I have right here, and also the heart to the canyon right here. Well, that kind of looks more like a liver or stomach, but yeah, very beautiful photos of this canyons that we have out here. So I'm selling prints, everybody. So if you guys are interested in purchasing prints, I do now have a Shanclenshadowproductions Lodge website. So I know a lot of people out there have been asking, they're like, hey, I don't have Instagram, so how can we see your prints? If you guys are interested in purchasing some of my prints, they are over at Shanclenshadowlodge.com. That is Shanclenshadowlodge.com. I'll put it right here. That has all my prints, has my portfolio of all the stuff I do outside of the paranormal. And if you guys are needing like to hire me out for like graduation photos, senior pictures, you want to do a film shoot, music videos, really anything like that, you guys can set up an appointment with me at Shanclenshadowlodge.com. And you guys can order some prints too. All the sizes are on there, pricings. You guys can order that. I'll sign these up for you, get you guys some really cool handwritten thank you letters from me. And yeah, get that sent over to you right away. There's also this same one I have. It's a lot bigger. It's just chilling right here, as well as another photo that I got over in Flagstaff, Arizona. But yeah, like I said, I've been busy. I was busy getting that website ready. I've been busy getting ready the Talking Shadows live show on the second channel too. We did our first show this past Monday. And so if you guys want to go check that out, the live streams are going to be switched over to Wednesdays now for the main channel. And then for the Shanclenshadowproductions Lodge website, that's going to be live shows on Monday at 6 p.m. Arizona time, 5 p.m. PST. Yeah, so go on over there. You guys are pretty sure you guys will enjoy that because we have a lot of fun over there. I had a lot of fun. So go follow me on all my social medias. Everything is linked in my channel descriptions. I got a link tree over there. Yeah, so thank you so much for everybody enjoying the content here at Shanclenshadowproductions. Thank you for your patience too. I have some other gadgets and gizmos that's on the way for investigations coming up. It's wintertime, like I said, so grab your hoodies. Holiday season, so if you guys want to go ahead and purchase one of your loved ones some prints, it'll be signed and dated from me. And get yourself some merch from Shanclen.shop. www.shanclen.shop. Get some merch over there. And yeah, just a lot of cool, amazing things coming up, gadgets and gizmos coming up for some investigations. So I'm excited for that. Hope you're all excited too. And I shall see you guys in the next video. Hook on it. There was a lizard in here. I saw him. It's snowing outside right now, so it's pretty warm in here, but I saw him the other day. He started crawling up my armor. So I took everything out of my armor to see if he was in there, and he wasn't. So I have a little roommate in here now. He's getting all the bugs. So, yay, lizard.